So as soon as it was my intention to start recording, this lawnmower started, right? And then right before I hit record, this truck started making all kinds of noise. And we're gonna record anyway. Oh wow. Okay, I haven't even said what this video is about yet. It doesn't really matter what distractions are going on. These messages want to get out. They're gonna get out. That's it. So anyway, see, quiet's down. All right, so picking up the energy of someone who, this is probably going to be very specific, by the way. Someone who's fairly spiritual, or at least understands, you know, like when something's going on, they understand what's happening. And so this is someone who their energy at one point changed. It wasn't a negative change. It was a very, yeah, see, these cards are just acting up. It was a very, I was going to say abrupt change. It's not exactly what I meant. It was like a definite change isn't what I mean either. It was different. Your energy changed. And you would have sat around and wondered what that was, except for your music was invaded, or your life was invaded by music that you wouldn't normally listen to. You started getting love songs. And in some cases it wasn't even really appropriate. Like the channel you were on wouldn't really play that on its own, kind of thing. Or some of you had like a playlist and some song invaded it and you still can't figure out how that song got on there. Or it didn't get on there, it just played and it was never on there. Stuff like that. So when your energy changed, you knew that it wasn't you, right? And then you started, I guess, for lack of better words, energetically investigating. And you realized that was someone else's energy pulling on you. And you realized that it was someone else's energy pulling on you. Nine of Cups, Nine of Pentacles. Because they liked you. And then you realize that the only way that could really be happening is if they were watching you. So I'm talking to somebody who is watching someone watch them through whatever means, social media, this truck. I don't know if you can hear it. Maybe you can't hear it. It's like, there's no reason for all that rumbling. So anyway. Alright, we got enough here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're gonna pull the next row. These cards on this row and the next row that we're pulling right now is this person who's watching you. And then we're gonna pull a row on your side and kind of see if we can see maybe what this is. But like I said, very specific. You should already know if I'm talking to you. If not, it's a possibility maybe that someone's watching you, but you don't know. You found this. Again, this isn't in a creepy way. They're intrigued by you. Because you make them weak in ways that they don't understand. We'll try to figure out if they understand it now. But I want to get 2 more cards before I really get into this, because I'm still ingrained in this thought process of this energy of watching this person watch me and possibly even getting a little annoyed by it because someone's not speaking. Wow. Wow. What do we got here? Where is it? That was Temperance upside down. Yeah, we have Judgment twice on the table. Okay. Yeah. All right, so I believe that this is an emperor. This is an emperor. But right now they're showing up as the King of Pentacles, which for some of you is like if you watch tarot, like that is your counterpart in your head, the King of Pentacles. Kings will show up more than the Emperor anyway. And we say that the Emperor is all four kings, but I believe that the Emperor is all four kings at all times, but I also believe that they have to kind of like switch hats, and depending on what they're doing, if they're at work, at home, you know, whatever. So, you know, being a dad or whatever, and this is male or female. I didn't mean to do that, but that's funny. I got all kinds of cards to come out. So I believe that every once in a while, they're this king, and then they're this king, and then they're this king, and then they're this king. So right now, this person is showing up as the King of Pentacles. But yeah, when they, like I said, okay, so no, they did not figure out what about you that it is that makes them weak. But let's get back to that. So showing up as the King of Pentacles, right? I was trying to figure out where they first saw you, or how they first saw you. This story is not starting there. This story is starting. This story anyway is starting where they're having a hard time with, I was going to say, with their emotions. Let's pull the last three cards while that truck's acting up. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. It's done. Okay. I don't know. For some reason, I have the notion to keep these cards out. So I think we're going to be pulling more of these cards. But we're also going to get some of these and some of these. Okay. So showing up as the King of Pentacles, somehow saw you. Okay. I suspect that this was the type of thing that picked up speed. So it wasn't necessarily full-blown right there in the beginning. Could have been. But I suspect that this person had room to think that they had like all kinds of time, or that they could like ignore it. It's a possibility that they had formed feelings for people before and did not act. And so they thought like it would just blow over. And here we go. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put this up here. So yeah, and I want my coffee. Let me just go get it. All right. So thought, that if they did nothing, that they could just move on with their life or whatever. And it grew, something got bigger, something got harder. It got, and it wasn't just like the idea of, oh, I feel this way, I haven't spoken up. It's everything that person wanted. Where's this card I saw? Well, this, let me see if I can, shit. Just put the candle out with this. Wish granted. And so it was all the components of what they wanted in a relationship, the success of it. That's what was kind of barking at them, which is weird that came up. Yeah, the things that they wanted were sitting on their shoulder, whispering in their ear, right? But this stopped them, because typically this person calls the shots, for lack of better words. Not necessarily in a relationship, just kind of in life. And probably in relationships too. I'm getting in relationships too, because I'm getting that they're in unfamiliar territory. But more importantly, I was going to say they don't like it, but it's not the fact that they don't like being in unfamiliar territory. It's the fact that they don't like that they don't know why it is that you make them. Let's just say if like, I was going to say they're very stingy. That's not actually what I meant. But let's pretend like they don't give anybody anything. Let's pretend that they have a lot of stuff, but they don't give anybody really anything. I mean, like if you're a child of theirs and you want something, like you have to earn it, you know, whatever, stuff like that, right? But for some reason they want to give you everything that you ever wanted. And they can't figure out what in the hell that is. It's stopping them from coming forward because they feel like you're a weakness, and if they can't figure out, they can't like guard against it or like identify it, it causes this like fear to I was going to say come forward, then I was going to say step forward, and then I was going to say step forward and talk to you. So, you know, those choice of words makes me feel like this person thinks they're hiding. Like they don't realize that you're watching them, right? This could have been going on for a while too. This could have been going on since like almost the beginning, since like when their emotions changed. I feel like there was a point where they were like watching and something changed in them as they were like tapping into you, and you felt that switch. It was almost like the moment that we went kind of, I was gonna say sour, that's not what I mean, maybe like the moment we got frustrated with it, the moment we had like gone around enough to be like, what is going on? And then that energy sort of like zapped you into, yeah, what's going on? Let me take a look at this Knight of Swords real quick here. Oh my God. Yeah. So, whoa. God, this card. This person is afraid that they will say something wrong. Like they won't be able to stop. And it might be true by their standards. They feel compelled to, like, they can't hold anything back from you. They know it before they even speak to you. So they feel compelled to come forward with this energy going on of not understanding why you make them want to just like give to you. And then they're afraid that they're going to say something that they'll regret, even though it'll be truth. They know they will. They won't be able to take it back, and it'll be something that has to do with like what they want, their wishes and their dreams, like what they want from you. And this 10 of Cups is sitting underneath this 9 of Pentacles, and I just kind of feel like this right here is like a struggle. But it's an internal struggle. Like, I'm surprised the 8 of Swords isn't on the table. It's an internal struggle that they're creating, and it could be true. Like, for some of you, you might be in a relationship. You might not want anything to do with this. And this isn't necessarily giving me, like, soulmate energy. Although I will say that I feel like the divine is on the table. I feel like divine timing is on the table. I feel like this is really just standing out as a trumpet. And this is kind of telling me that this person will speak. Even if they don't want to, they will speak. They have to. And I think to a certain extent they know it. Yeah, they do. We have the High Priestess on the table twice. You both know it. And then there's this happy little death card upside down again. Now, this is kind of telling me that this will never end for them, because the dream will never end for them. Even if they sit around in their house and say, you know what, I'm just going to give up on my hopes and dreams because I don't believe that there's anyone there and blah, blah, blah. The universe is not going to let them forget about you. And the universe is not going to let them sit in that. Even though this dream will never end, and if they didn't act, it would just go on and on and on. The system itself, and especially in this person's life, is designed to break this person. So yeah, they'll sit in it and they have the free will to fight it, but the system has already been set up to where they will give in to this. Now, whether or not you're available when that happens, I don't know. I suspect that some of you have been watching this for so long that you're frustrated with this person. You're like, oh my God, what are they doing? How long does it take to heal? Or how long does it take to find your self-worth? Or how long does it take to go through all these challenges? And like some of you guys have been doing this for years. You're not even sure if this person is real anymore. This King of Pentacles, right? Let's pull some more cards real quick. I mean, you know, with divine timing turns, and maybe people, that's a lot of cards, but I think we're going to take them. You know, maybe people get distracted and they run on, you know, somewhere else. Look at this. All right, so these aren't really the cards for this, but it's weird because the cards that I would have for this, I wouldn't necessarily pull in this reading. And here they are showing themselves anyway in my energy cards. So it's not just, and I know you guys know this, but it's not just them not wanting to move. This blower is getting louder. Do you know it's all the way across the street? Anyway, so I don't want to close the window either, guys. It's very hot. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. It's hot. So anyway, there's people that are interfering. So, look at this. So heart chakra upside down, thinking man upside down, healer of the ages upside down, and happy family upside down. So they're going through stuff. So they have their eye on this happy family, but that's not exactly what's going on here. I don't have a Four of Swords on the table, but I got a lot of stuff going on in here that's causing me to feel like someone has overcome some things. They have like they didn't even have to change much to understand their own value. They realize that they bring stuff, and I'm not picking up like a relationship per se. This could be friends interfering. Someone is interfering with their heart, but that could be like a family member or a friend. Again, no specific counterpart on the table except for this Queen of Pentacles, but this is supposed to be your row. So this isn't like a third party. This is where that third party is coming in. And our heart chakra, again, I'm not picking that up as like a love relationship. Yeah, this could be anything. Becoming braver. So we've been doing this. We've been doing this for a while. And we're doing the best we can here and moving through this. There's possibly some disruptions, distractions, possibly just the idea of the fact that this is what we have and it's causing us to, again, you know, if this is all we've been given or this is all we've seen, let's say, ever, maybe we do know that something else is out there. Maybe we suspect and we haven't been shown for sure, right? We still don't know why it is that you make them want to be out of character. And this is causing them to not want to move. So the more uncertainty there is in this situation, the more that is going to play on possibly even a fear. Because if you're the type of person that will take advantage of that, they're screwed. So, find the lesson and such a curious dream came out. But they sort of fell out of the deck in a weird way. I almost didn't take them and they were upside down. But I think that this person like always knew the lesson. I don't think they had to find the door to value. I think they always knew where it was. And it's a possibility that they just like accepted something. Like I said, this doesn't have to be a relationship. This could be just the people around them. Like when we let's talk in terms of a spiritual awakening real quick. Let's say we meet, we go through high school. Like as humans, we make friends, right? Let me see how much time we're into. Okay, we got a couple more minutes. So when we're in high school, like we make friends, right? And then we go through high school. Some people keep these friends. Some people don't. Let's say we keep these friends and then we keep going, and then people get married and then we meet their friends or their family or whatever's going on, right? So all these people, right? And then let's say that we have a spiritual awakening. Sometimes we've talked about it on this channel about how when we're in a relationship and we have a spiritual awakening, it's even worse, especially if the other person isn't having a spiritual awakening, right? So we start looking around, we start realizing like terms like protect our energy and things like that. And we start looking around and we start evaluating all these people that want to come into our lives. We start deciding if we're going to give them the basically the energy, right? But we forget to look around for the people that have been there forever. Those people get a pass for some reason. In our head, we don't think to reevaluate everyone because the people that we've already deemed okay in our head get a pass. Like I said, it's the best way I can put it, right? Until you start realizing you're not happy or you're not getting something out of your relationships or you want a certain type of friend, right? Then you start evaluating the people around you and you start realizing, oh, the people that had a pass aren't giving what I want in a relationship anyway. They're not allowing me to have the type of relationship that I want to have anyway. So this whole higher level of being that I'm slipping into, maybe even by accident, maybe I saw someone and all of a sudden I fell in love and all of a sudden I looked around and went, oh my God, I don't want to introduce them to these people. Anything's possible in that respect. But either way, it was one of those where it was kind of like, oh, we're gonna have to shift. And if we were in something, even if it was just friendships or tied into like business deals, it takes a little while to get out of this stuff. And then if we don't have, also just came to my brain is like legalities. So like if we have to separate a business, this could take time. But on top of that, like I said, we have the stuff that's going on inside of us that's making us afraid to step forward because of what we've been shown or what we're used to. And then the uncertainty of why all of a sudden we want to change for someone else that we haven't even expressed our love to. This is causing issues. Sometimes this card comes off as overthinking. I don't think this person could be overthinking. I'm not necessarily picking up overthinking, but funny enough, overthinking sometimes creates confusion, and I believe that this is confusion. So it could be overthinking, or it could just be straight confusion. I'm also getting that you're not necessarily supposed to be the person to reach out. Sometimes we know about these situations. Sometimes we know the person or we know what's going on, or we may have got we may have an idea and we're like, oh my God, this is stupid. I just want to say something. Let me just see. I don't know. Let me ask them if, how they feel about me because this is dumb. I'm getting that you're not supposed to step forward, that you're not supposed to ask. This person, you can't help this person. Listen to this. This person has to do it themselves. They have to do all of it themselves. Because they're the ones, first of all, they're the ones that are stopping themselves because they're allowing themselves to be in their head. They're doing that. They're in a place right now that even if they did listen to you, you can't get to them. And it's a possibility that if there are people in their ear, they're still in there. Let's go back to this death card upside down. So what I was going to say earlier, I think part of the reason why they want to come towards you is because they can see this 10 of Cups, 9 of Pentacles energy, right? That's because you have that, okay? So this Death card upside down with, well, this will never end for them if they don't move. Yes, it's true. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it won't end for you. What do I mean by that? You already have this. So if this person never steps forward and they think about you for the rest of their lives, this doesn't even affect you really. Because you have everything that they're looking for. You already have it. You don't need to go looking for it, right? So if they want to sit in a want for that, knowing, that's funny too, because I am getting So I am getting a spiritual awakening from this person. And I'm also getting that this is kind of like the universe or God's way of saying, hey man, I taught you different. You don't sit in something that you know isn't right when I've already shown you the difference. That's when you're going against God. If you didn't know the difference and you just did what you just did, they know not what they do. It would be better than knowing and doing the thing anyway. Like I said, when I pulled the High Priestess earlier, this person already understands. This person already had the idea of the door to value. And whenever this person started going through this, maybe this isn't from childhood, but even if it was, this person knew something was wrong from the get-go. Like as people were around them, they knew that they weren't their friends, or they knew they couldn't rely on their family. Like there was something that as they were growing up, they knew they couldn't really talk to anybody, or they could only talk to people periodically, and it was different people every time. So nobody even knows all their stuff. And the people who did know their stuff would tell other people. They would tell them their business. So they weren't allowed to really confide in anybody. They weren't really allowed to trust anyone with their weaknesses. And apparently you are now their weakness. So even if they were to say, screw it, I'm going to step forward, then they'd be trusting these people with their weakness. They're having a hard time. Usually I just say, hey, leave these people. But, like I said, when you're ingrained in something, it takes a little longer to do. I do believe that they will. But I don't know if you're going to be available for that. I do believe if they do come, they're not going to come with all their BS. And I do believe that, like I said, the universe is going to keep messing around with them. Judgment's on the table twice. What was that? It was, we said, they were afraid if they come, they knew that they were going to say something they didn't want to say. It was almost like the universe was going to make them do that. And then over here, it was like the universe is going to make them come forward. So it's almost like they know that they're being pushed to come forward. They know they're going to say something they don't want to say. And it's going to put their everything out there for you to decide what you want to do with it. And that makes them extremely uncomfortable. Meanwhile, they cannot just wait this out. So, if you were wondering if that was the situation with this person, it is. And if you were wondering if they'll eventually come forward, they will. If you don't want them to come forward, you can handle it different ways. You can, block it or whatever. But, honestly, the way this is going with the judgment cards, I think that ultimately, even if you did want this to go away, your best bet is to listen to this person wholly, like fully 100% listen to them out, hear them out, and then decide. Even if you've already decided, listen to them wholly. And then maybe if you really didn't want them in your energy, at that point, this energy might cycle out. They may never forget. They may kick themselves forever. But again, like I said, that doesn't have anything to do with you, because you're already, look, I meant to pull, where is that card? This card, and it was like this card came out. I meant to pull these two cards. This is what I'm talking about, though. Like, you already have this. You're already going to get this. I feel like this is like, I've been wondering sometimes lately about these energies that don't want to step forward. These energies that I know have a certain like feeling and they don't want to step forward. I've been wondering what's going to happen to them And this is a really good description of that. Of course, this isn't going to be for every situation, as far as if somebody's not speaking up about about feelings. But it's a good, I feel like that a lot of what's happening right now, and I feel like kind of to a certain degree, and it's weird to say it this way, but love is in the air. And, you know, I feel like everybody's on different waves of it. So maybe you catch this wave, maybe you catch the next wave, depending on where you are, how fast you move, or how ready, whatever's going on. But sometimes I feel like some people never catch the wave, or they, if they were supposed to catch the wave, but they didn't, what happens to them? Because we have free will, and I know that that's what gets in the way. I know that that's part of what drives divine timing. And I know that's part of what shifts sometimes the energy. So it's almost like you're watching this person, let's say, and then you go, you know what, I'm tired of this. This isn't even a show I want to watch anymore. And you like turn channels. All of a sudden, this person feels your energy pull away because they've been in it the entire time. That's how you knew about them. And then they go, oh crap, she's gone or whatever. And then they rush towards you. Again, male or female, but we got male energy on the table. So it's one of these things where it's kind of like, oh, well, the minute I stopped thinking about it, or the minute I, you know, the minute it caught me off guard. Yeah, because that's how energy works, because you let go. They couldn't feel your energy anymore, and then they step forward. It's a possibility. I get that real things are holding this person back, but like I said, a lot of it is internal. So some of this other stuff that was in the way, they might not even be obstacles anymore. In fact, they might only be obstacles in this person's head. Either way, you know, it just depends on where you are when they decide to come forward. But like I said, it looks like they have to. I can't even imagine how they would feel for the rest of their life if they didn't. Keep that in mind. Till we meet again.